The STEM Society.
So when you're dropping your debut self-produced tape, I typically wonder if you're going to tell me a story or you're going to give me a bunch of lyrical garbage, mumbo jumbo that I'm not going to understand, and you just want to prove that you can rap. Proph is a South London artist, and he caught my ear with this song called High Maintenance. I randomly heard it on my algorithm on Tidal, and I was very intrigued because he dropped the song sounds radio ready, like it sounds like it's a single, but when you listen to it, he's actually telling a pretty dope story. Going into more of how women are more into your money than they are into you. And I was like, okay, he's doing that route, which I thought was pretty dope. So when I heard that he was dropping his debut tape, I wanted to listen to it firsthand because the first song that I heard was so accessible. I didn't have any expectations. I've only heard one song from him. I didn't know his catalog, didn't really know his history here. I just knew I liked the first song that I heard from him. My expectations was just not very high. He really surprised me. Let's start off with the production. He self-produced this album on his own, and you can tell by listening to it that everything feels very cohesive. It feels like he crafted this whole thing around his rap style, which I enjoy. And if you know me, if you've been watching the show, you already know I love someone who self-produces their album. I always give you extra credit when you do that. It's not easy being able to self-produce something and it still sounds good for the masses. It's just not an easy thing. Proph gives this chill, atmospheric sound. He blends like a lot of R&B with like instrumentation. Like he does a lot of guitar and trumpets on here on a lot of the songs, which I thought was cool. And he did a lot of smart samples. The production really brought me into this album just by how smooth and how clean it was when I was listening to it. One of my favorite songs on here is IG Baby. And the reason is he flips Tinashe's Nasty and he uses it in a very smart way when he's describing what's going on with the girl in the song. Of course, Nasty was one of those TikTok songs, and the way he's describing how this girl is so into social media and using Nasty, it just worked. I don't think a lot of producers think like that or they get that intricate when it comes to production. And he did a great job when he pulled that off. The production sets the mood. It doesn't sound like background noise or anything like that. It reminds me a lot of Vince Staples. Like when you hear Vince Staples' production on his albums, he sets the tone for what he's going to say on the song. I think Proph does a lot of that as well when it comes to this album. All of his production sets the mood and where he's going in all of these songs, and I have to give him a lot of credit for that. That was like one of the best. That was really one of the better ways I got through this album or this tape. The production was so smooth, and each song went into each other pretty easily. Most UK artists that I listen to, like K-Trap or when I listen to Clavish, are very like quick, fast, like they're going all the time. This changes the mood he changes the flow from what I typically get from my UK rappers. He is very much like laid back delivery. He gives a strong introspective writing, which is two things I enjoyed very much when it came to his lyrical prowess. Like he's not a super lyrical dude, but he really does give you a lot more of emotion and storytelling. Like he leans into that a whole lot more than a lot of other artists I've listened to over here in the UK. When you are doing your debut tape, a lot of people want to jump into the entendre bag and give you just lyrics and lyric and rhyme this with this, with this, with this, and this. Like a lot of people get into that bag instead of getting into their storytelling bag. Typically, if it's something of a debut for you, I want to know who you are as an artist and I want to understand your journey. I don't think a lot of artists do that when they do their debut tape. I think they really want to show us how much they can rap, and it's just like, oh man, like I can go just as good as the other one. Like I'm on my Eminem shit. Like I don't want that. Like if I'm just now finding out about you, I want to know who you are. I want to know your story, and I want to get invested in you as an artist so I can listen to the next album. And the next album, you can go into that lyrical bag or that entendre bag all you want to. But I don't think he's that type of artist. He really gives me more of a laid back, chill vibe, and I love that about this album. Proph has one of my favorite songs of the year. Hero's Demo is a heartfelt, like self-aware song where he gets into this story about wanting to be accepted by his peers and trying to make it in rap. And I don't think enough artists talk about their struggle or how they really want to feel appreciated by their peers when it comes to hip hop or when it comes to rap. Like he goes into a lot of name dropping. He name drops Dave, Skepta, and he just talks about how a lot of these artists accepted him or told him how dope his tape was and how it made him feel. When he was younger, his dad said he would never make it in rap. And when you have a relatable story like that on your album, bro, you're gonna pull me in every time. And that was such like I listened to that song maybe 10 times when I first heard the tape because it was so endearing and it really brought me into his world. And I thought, yo, I feel like that as a content creator. There are times when I just want to feel accepted or I want to hear somebody say, hey, that was a great job, or you got a dope podcast, or blase, blase, blah. And that song is one of from the sample that he used, which is like this singing. I don't know where he got the sample from, but to his storytelling on that song, it's just one of my favorite songs of 2025. There's nothing out there beating it right now. The album's just not storytelling. Like he does get into his radio friendly accessibility bag, if that makes sense. Like High G Baby and High Maintenance are more of like your gateway into getting into this tape. And I like that because if you get too deep into this album, you might get scared. Like if you start off with the storytelling stuff, I think it would probably scare a lot of people away. So I was glad he gave us more accessible songs so people can get into this album and actually get a kind of like a feel for what type of artist he is. And let me get into another part that I think is a positive on this tape as well. He did 13 tracks on here, and I love the sequencing that he did on this album. I'm a sucker for that. You know, if you listen to me, I'm a sucker for that. But the sequencing works well. It's effortlessly done. Like I didn't have a problem listening to this from front to back. Like it wasn't a lot of songs that I wanted to skip. And even the interludes make sense on here too. Like they didn't feel like filler. And I've never been a fan of I hate interludes. I just hate interludes. But when they're done correctly, you can actually make the album flow a whole lot better. Even though I listened to this from front to back, there were a couple of skips on here. The song Clouds and Sometimes they just didn't hit as hard. Like they just didn't work for me. Uh they were okay. It's just I just didn't want to hear them. It's just I don't think it really I don't want to say it was the production. I didn't care for what he was talking about in either one of those songs. But overall, the album is tight, it's clean, and it's confident. And that's what I like about it as well. Like Proph is very confident in what he's telling us, especially bringing us into his world. And a lot of you can tell when an artist is not really confident about talking about personal shit. And that's another reason this is so good. Like he really gets into his introspective bag, and I want to let you guys know my story, and I'm going to tell it to you, and you may or may not like it. And I really respected that coming from Prof, and I think he's going to be somebody who's going to continue to do this for a long time. So my final verdict, this is certified heat, man. Prof showed us that simple storytelling is way better than just an entendre fest of different bags you can get in when it comes to rapping. He controlled the mood of the album with his production. I really enjoyed that the most. Self-produced albums are not easy. I know I keep reiterating that, but it's the truth. When you self-produce something, it's typically for your ears and maybe your homies. But when you have a whole lot of different people who have to listen to this and accept it, it's just a way harder thing. And I think the storytelling mixed with his production gave us a lot more of it just felt more personal. It felt more intentional. And that was the biggest reason I think this is an outstanding debut tape. I think Prop's going to be here for a long time. I think he's going to be one of the names people are going to be talking about when it comes to UK rap. He did a outstanding job on this, and I can't wait to listen to his second tape or second album or whatever it is. I'm trying to figure out the lingo here. But if you haven't heard Hurts the New Sexy, go out and listen to it. It's on your DSPs right now.